Frankenstein, Agent of S.H.A.D.E. number 1, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Alberto Ponticelli. Not what I expected. Not bad, not great, but definitely not what I expected. For those of you who don't know, Frankenstein, not created by DC, is actually in the public domain. You can do whatever you want with Frankenstein, so long as you're taking strictly from the source material and not some other person's interpretation of it. So I guess DC saw Frankenstein and said, okay, we're going to make him a government agent that hunts monsters because we don't own the rights to Hellboy. Thus, Frankenstein, Agent of S.H.A.D.E. So, just right off the bat, it opens up with grandfather and his grandson in Bone Lake, Washington. They're just sitting by the lake, fishing, saying, "Oh, Grandpa, I love hanging out with you." The dog's nearby. The dog starts growling at something, and then you hear this giant noise. The exact word is "grorsploch." So, whatever you think makes that noise. Grandpa thinks it might be a grizzly bear. So he tells the boy to stay back, goes off into the bushes, sees that the dog has literally been skinned. Then he looks up and he sees these giant hulking behemoths with like slime and stuff coming out of them. And he makes the offhand message here of, "It's finally happening, isn't it?" Don't get any payoff on that. Cut to S.H.A.D.E. What is S.H.A.D.E? It stands for the Superhuman Advanced Defense Executive. I'm not sure, that seems forced to me, but don't they all? We get a whole thing here on their new base of operations called the Ant Farm. And just as an aside real quick, the way they give exposition is via like a database like entry. So when Frankenstein, he has to sign in and they say like, "Welcome, Super Agent Frankenstein. Please enter your password. Password accepted. Thank you. Welcome to S.H.A.D.E.net." The blah, blah, blah. It's like, data incoming, 97% download. It has the whole shebang on accessing files, which, fine if you have to exposit, but at the same point, it gets kind of annoying. Anyway, get the whole thing. Apparently, the Ant Farm is what the HQ is called. It's a 3-inch indestructible globe that they have to use shrinking and teleporting technology to get into. As such, Frankenstein is teleported in. A new science agent, Belroy, welcomes him. He tells Belroy that he was not to be interrupted from his vacation on Mars unless it was super important. So that can only relate to his wife, I guess. Also, his boss's name is Father Time. I'm assuming the actual Father Time. As he leaves to go find Father Time, he comes across 2 robots, and we get a whole thing on what are humanids. Humanids are artificial life forms, blah, blah. Basically, they're super smart. They run the city because it's a whole city inside of this 3-inch globe. And when they only live for 24 hours, and then they decompose into energy for the city. Frankenstein's a bit pissed off that, they're making life, because he kind of has a thing about that. And he comes across Father Time and the person working with Father Time, who we'll get to in a second. Father Time has taken a new body. Apparently the old one rotted away, and now Father Time is a small schoolgirl with a mask on. You can see it on the cover, whichever way that is. It's just to get over it. So, moving on. The other person that's working with is Ray Palmer, and those who are familiar in DC history, Ray Palmer is the Atom, famous for shrinking technology. That's what he used to create the Ant Farm. However, according to this, he may not be the Atom. He's a UN science liaison who's basically the one that's the government lackey that keeps them all in check around here. Anyway, Frankenstein doesn't want any nonsense, wants to know where his wife is. They do a psychic uplink so that they can just show him videos in his brain. Okay. They show some satellite footage from what happened that day. Apparently, the kid got away, went to the sheriff, said, "Hey, my father was attacked by monsters. Grandfather was attacked by monsters." They laughed him off. They went out, they found his skinned body, and then they took it a bit more seriously as the monsters were literally destroying their town. S.H.A.D.E. sent in the Bride of Frankenstein to clean up, and she did a perfectly good job until she lost contact right at midnight. So they're sending Frankenstein in because now they've made it personal. So they arrive at the city. They've managed to contain the monsters, but they're like, hey, you've got like a couple hours before we drop some nukes, so get to it. So Frankenstein's about to jump in, and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Father Time is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You think you're the only public domain monster? Au contraire. Introducing Division M, aka the Creature Commandos, which consists of Dr. Nina Mazursky, Fish Lady, Warren Griffith, Werewolf, Vincent Velcoro, Vampire, and Khalees, Mummy, and Medic. I don't know why they made him the Medic. Just because he has bandages on hand. But tis. Anyway, Frankenstein's super pissed at this. Because it's like, stop making monsters. For God's sakes, stop making monsters. Stop it. I should be the only one. And the fish lady steps forward and is like, hey, hi, I was the scientist, lead scientist. You inspired me, Frankenstein. You are an inspiration to us all. And we all volunteered for this, so don't get too pissy. And Frankenstein's like, whatever. Look, we're looking for survivors, we're looking to kill these monsters, and we're looking for my wife. Any questions? No? Cool. And they run in. There's a beautiful splash page of them all fighting. They're fighting for a little bit. They don't think anybody could have survived. Khalees, the mummy, feels heartbeats. Khalees was not made by the lady, the fish lady. He was just found. He is an actual ancient mummy. He feels heartbeats behind a church door. Frankenstein, Fish Lady, and Mummy make their way in while the other ones hold off the horde. And they get in there. It seems empty. They push the altar and reveal a staircase. And underneath is a whole bunch of children and this old lady with a crucifix saying how, stay back, you filthy demon spawn, or I'll send you all back to hell. And that's where the issue ends. Finding a bunch of kids. Why did I say that this isn't what I expected? Twofold. One, the opening exposition where they're just constantly accessing the databanks. It plays off weird. It's a bit overwritten in that regard. There's one caption in here where it's 97% downloaded. Upload complete. It's like, okay, but I understand flavor text, but did you really need to put that on a page that already had 9 caption boxes, all of the same, accessing file 522/A-2. Okay, just tell me what I need to know. I don't, yes, flavor text, nice, cool. I don't need that, though. And then I genuinely didn't know anything about Creature Commandos. I didn't know they were a thing at all. So it very much was surprising me. I figured this was kind of going to be like a Hellboy-ish sort of situation. But I thought maybe, Creature Commandos seems like it would be a second or third arc thing, not a let's get in. I figured first arc would be let's get situated with Frankenstein and then we'll introduce a team, but I guess not. So yeah, I just didn't expect. I expected more of a Hellboy sort of aesthetic, not so much a Men in Black super high tech. Oh yes, we have this 3-inch city that our entire base is, and it's weird. That being said, the writing wasn't bad. I didn't dislike anything it did. It was perfectly adequate in everything it did. Jeff Lemire, he always does great. I can see they're setting up this particular mission. I don't know what they're setting up beyond that. Just the only thing that was a long-term thing seemed to be Frankenstein's having marital problems. So that's about all we got to go off of. Art-wise, it's scratchy, it's very dark, but it fits the mood. It's very much, like I said, Hellboy style. This is literally DC's answer to Hellboy, and I can't fault it for that. It's fine. I just wish that Frankenstein maybe had a bit more, because he was so just straight to business that it didn't feel like I really knew anything about him yet. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. As for this issue, pretty average. I would say, I'm going to give it a 7. 7 is fine. It's fine. It's not blowing me away. It's fine. It works, but maybe it can get better over time. But hey, I'm not going to worry too much if it doesn't.